Hey folks, so today I'm going to discuss a new feature that we've added to CertAssurance called Request by Email. So I'm going to describe a scenario that was actually fairly common for me as a property manager and might sound very familiar for you guys as well. Let's say you have a tenant or a vendor and there's something wrong with their insurance certificate. They have incorrect limits. Their general liability or umbrella coverage is either absent or not there, or the limit is incorrect. The certificate holder or additional insured information is incorrect. It doesn't say exactly what you need it to say per your management agreement property requirements. Or maybe it's already expired and you just need, and otherwise it's correct and you just need a new insurance certificate. That back and forth with getting a correct insurance certificate, at least for me, typically took 3 to 4 round trips with email with whoever it was at that tenant or vendor, or maybe their insurance agent that was responsible for providing those insurance certificates or those COIs to me as a property manager. So, and that's time consuming. You have how many tenants or vendors? Even at a medium-sized property, you could have, upwards of 30 tenants and vendors. So having to do that back and forth every single time with all of them can take a lot of time out of your day, and it's time that's just not well spent, where your time is more valuable than that and probably better spent doing other things that add value to your property for your building owner. So we've added this new feature into CertAssurance called Request by Email that will short circuit that process, and the application handles all of that back and forth for you. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that new feature. We're going to go down to Test Property 1 here. We don't have any tenants or vendors set up for this property, so we're going to go ahead and add that in there. And this is going to be our landscaper. Contact name is Joe Landscaper. We're going to put a phone number in here for Joe. And ordinarily, you're going to want to put this contact's email address in here. I'm going to put mine in for the purposes of this demonstration. But ordinarily, this is going to be the email address for whoever your primary contact is at that tenant or vendor. Now, down here, these are 2 new blocks that we've added to this screen with the latest version of CertAssurance that allows you to put in a point of contact for the insurance certificates for that tenant or vendor. Maybe this is your primary contact for that tenant or vendor. Maybe it's their insurance agent. Maybe it's somebody else that handles facilities. We're calling it the insurance agent name and email in these blocks, but it doesn't have to be the actual insurance agent. Again, this is just going to be whoever it is at that tenant or vendor that's responsible for providing certificates of insurance copies to landlords. So we're going to say, for the purposes of this demonstration, that I am the insurance agent, and then we'll put a slightly different email address in here. It still goes to my inbox, but this will allow me to show you a feature here in a minute, that just so I can prove that the email addresses are actually changing when I make a selection here. So just double checking the email addresses real quick to make sure they're good. So we're going to go ahead and upload a insurance certificate, a COI, for this particular vendor. And we're going to pick one that we know is already expired. So this is like you're setting this guy up for the first time in your system. You have an insurance certificate on hand for him already, and you didn't know that it was already expired, but we're about to find out from the system here. It's going to scrape that document. It's going to see if it is not compliant, and sure enough, it comes back and lets us know, hey, that insurance certificate is already expired. Now, at this point, in the previous version of CertAssurance, it was up to the property manager to reach out to that tenant or vendor to try to get a new insurance certificate from them. Maybe they don't get back to you for a couple of days, and then that back and forth scenario happens, which all in can consume a couple of weeks just chasing down one insurance certificate. So we've added this new feature in called Request by Email, and this allows the property manager to send an email to either the primary contact for that tenant or vendor. They can send it to the insurance agent for that tenant or vendor, or again, whoever it is that's responsible for certificates of insurance at that tenant or vendor. Or you have the option of entering a custom name and email just as a one-time to send to somebody. Maybe you don't want to store them in your system. Maybe it's just a one-time need. You have that option here. So we're going to go ahead and send it to the insurance point of contact for that tenant or vendor, and we're going to request a new insurance certificate. Now the system is going to send out an automated email. It's going to hit my inbox here in a second. And what this does is requests a new insurance certificate from that particular tenant or vendor. And unfortunately, it's landing in my spam folder because Gmail is pretty awful about that sort of thing. But here's the invite. and it's asking me, hey, we've noticed there's something wrong with this insurance certificate you have on file for your vendor at this property. We need you to go ahead and correct this. Now, this is going to get updated here in the next day or so, and this is going to list the actual deficiencies associated with the insurance certificate, so this person isn't guessing what's wrong. So we're going to go to the application, and the application is going to give this individual the option to upload a document directly to that tenant or vendor entry in CertAssurance. Now, this person is outside of the system. They don't have the ability to go in and see your dashboard or anything else that you've done. This is the only view of CertAssurance that they get. It's a very limited view. Additionally, we are publishing the insurance requirements for the property here, so the person knows exactly what the document is supposed to say. So we're going to go ahead and upload a document here, and we're going to pick one that has incorrect insurance limits on it, just so we can see how the system handles that. Now, this takes a little bit longer because we're a little bit more thorough here, so you can see that progress bar is filling up. But what we're doing here is the same exact validation process that we do with files that are directly uploaded by the property manager. So we're taking the document in, we're scraping it, we're testing it against what we know the requirements are for the property, and then we're going to give immediate feedback to this insurance point of contact to let them know, hey, this insurance certificate is good, or this insurance certificate is still incorrect. We need you to go ahead and upload a new one. In the event that you get a false positive here, this insurance point of contact has the option to submit the document anyway. If it's a comma or a period that's off, they can submit that anyway, but the property manager still has the right to review that document within the system and either accept it or reject it and request a new document from the insurance agent. So we're just going to give this another minute or so, and look at that. It comes up and it says, hey, the document that you submitted has an incorrect general liability limit. It needs to be $5 million. Your document has $4 million. Please fix this. So like I mentioned, if it comes up as a false positive for whatever reason, the insurance agent has the option to submit the document anyway, but what we're going to do is go ahead and upload a new document. So again, we're taken back to this same screen where you can see, hey, here are the insurance requirements for the property. Let me double check my insurance certificate this time to make sure I'm getting it right. And we're going to upload one that we know is now good because we've done our due diligence to make sure that we're uploading a good document. So it's going to go through the scan process again. And like I said, this is the exact same thing that if it was a direct upload from a property manager. It's just testing the document to see, hey, is there something wrong with it? Is it good? And then once it's done scanning, the screen's going to be a little different than if it was incorrect. It's going to come back and it's just going to say, hey, the document was successfully uploaded rather. So it's going to take a minute. Scanning documents is a complex technological feat in order to make sure that you're getting it as accurate as possible. It's more of an art form and less of a science. So we just want to make sure that we're getting it right. So it takes a little bit longer when it's coming from a third party, just because we're applying, from a system and application perspective, a little bit more due diligence around it than if it were the property manager. So it'll just take another minute or so, and then it will be done. All right, there we go. The document has successfully uploaded, and now the insurance agent's work is done. So they can exit out of this portal that they've been provided. We're going to go back here to the CertAssurance app, rather. I'm going to click on our dashboard here and look at the alert tray, and it's going to tell us that, I'm sorry, let me refresh this real quick. There we go. It's going to tell us, hey, you have a new third-party certificate that's been uploaded. So, and we go down to the test property here, we can see, hey, there's one alert here, and this is different than the previous alert that we had because the previous one just told us that we had an expired insurance certificate. So this is different. We know that a new insurance certificate has been uploaded for the landscaper because it tells us in our tray here. So we go to the landscaper entry. Let's click on the alert and see what it says. Oh, hey, we've got a new insurance certificate that has been uploaded. The system has checked it. It is compliant. You can, as a property manager now, you have options. So if the insurance agent clicked on submit anyway, and you review the document and you determine, hey, this is incorrect in a way that I can't tolerate, I need a new one, you can click request by email again here, and it's going to go through the same process with that insurance agent as we just demonstrated. If you happen to have an insurance document on hand that has now been updated and is good and is correct, you can go ahead and upload that new from here. Or if everything's correct, you can just click on save. And then next thing you know, you've got a compliant insurance certificate for this landscaper. You can look at the previous ones here. So look, we can check and see. This is the original one we uploaded. And sure enough, it had already expired back in February. So we know that one's not good. And then we can look at the first one that was uploaded by the third party. And we can see, hey, look, $4 million worth of limit there. That's incorrect. So we know that the system was accurate there. And now we can look at the one that's good. We can just double check it. And we can see it doesn't expire till October. The limits are all correct. Certificate holder is accurate. Additional insured is accurate per the system requirements. Everything looks good here. We're all set. The system has done all of that back and forth for you. And you're not having to chase that down. So that's the latest feature. Called request by email. I'm excited by it. I hope you guys are excited by it too. So check us out at CertAssurance.com. We also have a presence on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate your time today.